Imagine being only 7 years old, standing on the deck of the biggest ship in the world, while thousands of people scream in the freezing darkness around you. Imagine watching your father disappear forever into the cold Atlantic Ocean. And imagine remembering that nightmare for the rest of your life. This is the true story of Eva Hart, the little girl who survived the sinking of the RMS Titanic. In April 1912, people around the world talked about only one ship, the RMS Titanic. It was enormous, luxurious, beautiful, and according to newspapers, unsinkable. People believed nothing could destroy it. Not storms, not waves, not even the ocean itself. Families sold everything they owned just to travel on it and begin new lives in America and Canada. Among those families was the Hart family from England. 7-year-old Eva Hart traveled with her mother and father. To Eva, the trip felt exciting, but her mother felt something very different: fear. Years later, Eva remembered her mother saying, "I never liked that ship." At the time, nobody understood why. The day the family boarded the Titanic, thousands of people filled the harbor. Workers carried luggage, children laughed, music played, smoke rose from the ship's giant funnels. Everyone smiled with excitement. But Eva noticed something strange about her mother. She looked nervous, very nervous. While other passengers admired the ship, Eva's mother kept watching the ocean silently. During the journey, she refused to sleep properly. Every night she wore heavy clothes to bed. She even made little Eva sleep fully dressed. People probably thought she was overreacting, but deep inside, she felt danger coming. At first, life aboard the Titanic felt magical. The ship looked like a floating palace. Bright lights filled the hallways. Elegant music echoed through the dining rooms. Passengers walked proudly across the decks. Eva loved exploring the ship with her father. She watched people dancing, children running, couples laughing together under the stars. Everything felt peaceful, safe, perfect. And maybe that was the most terrifying thing about the Titanic. Nobody believed disaster was possible. Then came the night of April 14th, 1912. The ocean was unusually calm. The air was freezing cold. Most passengers slept quietly in their cabins. Young Eva rested beside her parents. Then suddenly, scrape! A long, strange sound shook the ship. Not a loud crash, not an explosion, just a strange scraping noise. Eva opened her eyes. The ship felt different. Passengers stepped into the hallways, confused. Some laughed nervously, others ignored it completely. But Eva's mother immediately stood up. She knew something was wrong. Soon crew members knocked on cabin doors. Everyone put on life jackets and go to the deck. Still, many passengers did not panic. After all, this was the Titanic, the ship people believed could never sink. When Eva and her parents reached the deck, freezing wind hit their faces. The night sky looked endless and black. Crew members uncovered lifeboats. Passengers whispered nervously. Some refused to enter the boats. Can you imagine that? People were so confident in the Titanic, they were afraid to leave it. But slowly, the truth became impossible to ignore. The front of the ship began sinking into the icy Atlantic Ocean. Fear spread everywhere. People cried. Children screamed. Crew members shouted, "Women and children first." That was the moment passengers realized something horrifying. The Titanic was dying. Eva's father quickly carried her toward a lifeboat. Her mother climbed in beside her. Then came the moment nobody was ready for. The crew stopped her father. There was no space left. Women and children only. For a few seconds, the family stared at each other silently. Imagine how terrifying that moment felt. A father realizing he may never see his wife and daughter again. A little girl, too young to fully understand what was happening. Eva later remembered her father leaning forward to kiss her goodbye. Then the lifeboat slowly lowered into the darkness. That was the last time Eva Hart ever saw her father alive. Far away across the freezing water, the Titanic still glowed brightly, but not for long. Passengers in the lifeboats watched in horror as the giant ship tilted higher and higher into the sky. Then the lights began flickering. People screamed from the decks. Some jumped into the freezing ocean. Others prayed. Then the impossible happened. The Titanic disappeared beneath the water. Gone. The largest ship on Earth had vanished into the Atlantic Ocean. But the worst part came next. The screams. Hundreds of people trapped in freezing water cried desperately for help. Eva would remember those sounds for the rest of her life. Years later, even as an old woman, she said she could never forget them. Eventually, the screaming stopped, and the ocean became silent. The survivors floated through the darkness for hours. The cold felt unbearable. Many passengers cried quietly. Others sat frozen in shock. Little Eva stayed close to her mother. Then finally, lights appeared in the distance. The RMS Carpathia had arrived. One by one, survivors climbed aboard the rescue ship. Some people searched desperately for missing family members. Eva's mother searched too. But deep down, she already knew the truth. Benjamin Hart was gone, like more than 1,500 others who died that night. Most survivors tried to forget the Titanic, but Eva Hart never could. As she grew older, she told the world what she experienced that night. She appeared in interviews and documentaries for decades. People listened carefully as she described the freezing darkness, the fear, the screams, and the final moments of the Titanic. Unlike many survivors who stayed silent, Eva spoke openly about the tragedy. She wanted people to remember what really happened. Not just the ship, but the human lives lost inside it. More than 100 years later, the story of the sinking of the RMS Titanic still shocks the world. Not because the ship was famous, not because it was luxurious, but because real people lived through unimaginable fear that night. People like Eva Hart, a little girl who boarded the Titanic dreaming about a new future, and survived one of history's greatest disasters. If you enjoyed this true story and want to learn English through history and storytelling, subscribe to the channel and comment below. What would you have done if you were on the Titanic that night?